Have you ever wondered how you can master the one-handed backhand? Well, I've got it in store for you today. What is up YouTube? Friendly neighborhood coach Jose here. It's so good to see you all again. Welcome back to yet another episode. And in today's lesson, we're gonna check out a simple one-handed backhand. So the very first thing we need to check out is make sure we got the right grip. Now the grip that we're gonna be using is the Eastern backhand grip with our dominant hand on the bottom, just as so. One thing to note with this is you want to make sure you keep a little gap in between your index knuckle and your middle finger. That way you can have a nice loose and whippy motion. What I see time and time again is players, they'll do their backhand and they'll start swinging open with their chest. Definitely don't do this. This is going to cause you so many mistimes, so hitting the frame and the ball's going to get dragged off to the right side of the court as a right-handed player, or as a left-handed, it's going to get dragged off to the left side of the court. You may already be noticing this happening in your game when you're trying the single-hand backhand. When you're doing the single-hand backhand, it's very important that you stay side on. Have a look at the best single-hand backhand players in the world and you'll notice that their chest stays very side on the entire way through their motion. Have a look at Feds, for example, and Gasquet, a couple of the most beautiful single-handed backhand players, and that's why you may be watching this video, so you can hit a ball like them. But remember, you're not them and you're playing your own game. So just remember to stay side on all the way through the motion and keep your strings on your target, which it gets me into the next point. Now let's talk about the technique of the swing. Part one is making sure the preparation is right. Now the preparation, we want to keep this very simple. Just think about starting below the ball and have the bottom of the racket facing towards the ball, the oncoming ball. That way you can then be prepared to then swing straight forward to the ball, which leads me into the next part of swinging to the ball. When you come and hit the shot, it's very important that you swing straight to the ball and keep extending all the way through. Take a look at some of the best single-handed backhand players in the world, some of them being Gasquet, Stan Wawrinka and Federer. All of them make sure they extend their arm through the point of contact and continue to extend. One big thing I do see in quite a lot of players, especially learning the single-hand backhand, is they might contact the ball and then they're starting to bend. So instead of driving through the ball, they're contacting and coming off of their contact, coming away. So they're not coming through their shot. So make sure you're always extending through the point of contact for your single-hand backhand. Now you can leave it at the last step and you can choose not to really use much wrist, particularly if let's just say maybe you're a little bit wiser. You're a bit more of the wiser generation. This is where you want to maybe slow down here. You don't need to use as much of the modern whip, because then you could lead into injuries, because over time you have not developed your muscles for this new action. So you don't see McEnroe and all these guys that have been past, the legends, you don't see them trying to use as much whip on their forehands and their backhands. So you don't have to either. You can park it at the last step and just continue that backhand hitting straight through and finishing long and finishing high. If you are a little bit younger and you want to develop a little bit more of the wrist and get more arc on your shots, this is where you can then make sure you're looser in your wrist in terms of the lag and the drop and the brushing up action. So this, all it is a backwards wave. Okay, so you can do a front wave, but then now you're doing a backwards backhand wave. So you're getting down low and you're waving all the way up. Okay, that's all you need to do with this action to make sure that you get the nice arc that you're looking for over the net. Under and up, under and up. Now, a big key point that you're looking for at the end of your swing, whether you're parking at the last step or you're working a little bit more arc and heavy topspin on this backhand here, you want to make sure that you're looking for your finish. So what I mean by that is do your swing, make sure you get the preparation phase correct. Then when you swing through, have a little look at your finish position. Whether you're using a little bit more wrist for topspin or you're not, have a look at how you finish. If you're hitting the ball maybe a little bit flatter, not necessarily using as much spin, you want to make sure that your wrist is finishing, or your racket is finishing facing towards the opposite side of the court, and it's come under and up the back of the ball. Now, if you're looking to get a little bit more heavy spin out of your backhand and get nice consistent arcing shots, what you want to do is then you want to make sure you look your finishing position and make sure your racket has done a big wipe around the back of the ball. That way now you're finishing with your racket almost horizontal on the opposite side now. So it started over here and it's big wipe around. So if you finished in this position where your strings are facing across to the other side of the court and your racket is come around, then you have done the right swing. Maybe the timing you need to work on a little bit if it's not going as smoothly as you'd like to, but just make sure you look at that finish position to see whether you've done it right or wrong. Now there you have it, the simple one-handed backhand. Remember those key few points, staying very side on as you hit through your shot. If you're noticing as you finish your shot, your chest is opening up to the other side of the court, then you've over-rotated. Make sure you stay side on through the entirety of the motion. Now here's a little bonus tip for you. When you do your backhand, make sure your non-dominant arm is pulling back behind you. So a big key there, what I look for with my students, is that they're getting a nice squeeze in the middle of their back. So if I put like a pencil in between their shoulder blades, they'd be able to hold it there at the end of their swing. Maybe not necessarily, but you get what I mean. The reason for this is so you can maintain really strong balance, but as you finish, it's not letting your non-dominant side open up to the court. Whereas if you've got it pulling back behind you, it's helping you to stay side on through the entirety of the motion. Now, another key things that we're looking for here is the preparation. Remember to make sure that your racket's getting below the line of the ball and the bottom of the racket facing to the oncoming ball. Then we're hitting straight through the ball, nice and long arm, and then our finishing point, making sure that our strings are facing to the other side of the court. And we've swung in a low to high swing path. And if you're wanting to get a little bit more heavy spin, remember to use your wrist a bit more. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode on the simple one-handed backhand technique. I really hope you got something out of it and that you can go and practice as much as you can to nail these new backhands. Until the next episode, don't forget to like and subscribe so I can catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in.